Welcome, everybody, to the Midwest Outdoor Experience Podcast.
Hello.
How's it going, Austin?
Podcast number 9, Nathan says. He's got notes. He keeps notes.
Boom, old school notebook.
I'm doing well. Kids have been sick.
Ooh.
So about 10 days. I think
Oh my gosh.
they've only had 2 days so far where a kid hasn't been sick with a fever or whatever. So my wife and I are going crazy.
Starting off strong, being September 23rd, so you got a long way to go to get to April.
Starting off strong. But other than that, we're okay.
Nice.
This weekend at Truman.
You are?
Different. Yeah, I'm supposed to go up for a little bachelor party trip, crappie fishing stuff. I got my boat fixed. People followed along at all from YouTube shorts or TikToks. My live well drain plugs broke and leaked a lot of water in my boat, so I swapped those out. Hated my life. Every second I'm replacing them.
I wish I could have been there for it all. Gosh, that would have been
great. You could have been.
Well, that's good. Glad to hear. I have not been fishing. I've actually been kind of contemplating maybe going to Ozarks this weekend because if anybody's paying attention to the weather, it's going to get a little warmer. Right now, we are in deer season. That's where my heart lies right now. But it ain't going to be worth 2 cents if it's going to get hot again. So I'd just rather go.
Yeah, you may as well go fish.
Exactly. So we'll see where I end up. Let's see. Other than that, if anybody hasn't heard, we are doing a cooler raffle right now. The raffle's running. You can buy a raffle ticket for a Yeti cooler. I believe it's a Tundra 45.
45, yes. Tundra 45.
So retails at like $300 bucks?
$325, I think.
$325. One ticket is $20. 3 tickets is $50. And with the money that we raise from this raffle, we're putting towards insurance for our winter series, which is coming up in December, December 6th, December 27th, January 17th, February 21st, and the fish off / the last tournament, which anybody can fish. But for those who stick up with the points, March 7th will be the championship fish off. So we're looking forward to our 3rd winter series already, right? 3rd?
Yeah, this is our 3rd. Yeah, pretty sure that's right.
Where's the time gone? I tell you what.
It's going quick.
Yeah, it sure does. But anyway, please support us. Buy a cooler. Austin and I are not eligible.
Don't make us go backwards.
It would look really bad if we bought a cooler ticket and then won our own cooler. So we are not in it.
If we only sell 25 tickets, we're still raffling off the cooler. So then you have an even better chance of winning.
Yeah, and fair. We'll tell you right now, there's 8 tickets that have been sold, and we're capping it at 50. So if we get 50 tickets sold, that's it. There's you have a 1 out of 50 chance if we get 50 sold. But October 15th.
I'm not a mathematician, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, October 15th is the drawing. So wherever we land is where we land, and if we take the loss, well, it won't be the first time Austin and I lose. Stay tuned for more losses to come in the winter series. But tonight we got a fun conversation. We're going to be talking with our friend Tyler Pohle from Lake Ozark Marine Outdoors, and we're going to be covering quite a few different topics. But we're just going to kind of bring him in here to the chat room and kind of let him introduce himself and get the conversation started.
Bring him in.
Tyler,
guys,
how's it going, man?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
Enjoying the rainy weather. And apparently you guys aren't.
I don't want to talk about it.
I'm getting some rain. It was raining.
I believe we talked earlier, and he said he had like almost 2 inches, and today at my house I've had like 0.3 of an inch. But don't get me started on rain; it just get ugly. So, Tyler, well, let's get for people who don't know you. Let me ask you. So you are the owner of Lake Ozark Marine Outdoors. And / I guess founder. It's your business, your company.
Owner, operator.
There you go. CEO. Gosh, you're the management and the worker. Wow,
all of it.
That's amazing. What got you started and interested in what you do?
Well, I mean, I was at the dealership for 10 years. Fishing's always been, passionate hobby of mine. Dad and I love going out. I mean, crappie, bass, white bass, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then, I rigged a boat at the dealership, and I was like, that's kind of fun. Is there a market for it or not? And talked to a couple of people. They're like, yeah, could you do this? Could you do that? And I was like, I mean, don't really know what I'm doing, but sure. There's instructions to everything. You read
Yeah.
a couple of them and then you start doing it. And yeah, before you know it, it becomes kind of second nature. And you just find ways to do better and make everything better. So that's what everyone wants. They want an edge. They want to have the best setup that there is, and
Sure.
they want it to work. So
yeah, that's awesome. What are some of the services that you do that you offer to folks? Like, tell us some of the projects that you've done for people.
Oof. So obviously being at the dealership, I'll do full services on boats and everything like that. Repairs, mostly outboards. And then PWCs was my specialty for the last 10 years. But yeah, Yamaha is my strong suit as far as outboards and PWCs go. But any PWC, any outboard, I'll winterize, de-winterize, oil changes, all your general services. I do engine work too, and repairs and stuff like that. As far as the rigging aspect goes, I mean, full rigs, re-rigs. I've got, I think, 2 rewire jobs coming up this winter. I mean, if you name it, let me know what you got, and I'll try to figure out what we can do for you. So,
do you do carpet? Like if boat needs new carpet and stuff, do you do
don't do carpeting yet, but I do have a good buddy up in St. Charles that does it, so I refer him out quite a bit, and I've seen a lot of his work. And
you've got the hookup of somebody that's good.
Very good.
Yep. So,
I gotta ask: is Lake Ozark Marine Outdoors? I guess is this now your full-time job, and where is your shop/business located?
Yep. So, like I said, I was at the dealership for 10 years prior to this and didn't see eye to eye with them anymore. So put my 2 weeks in, and since then, I think I started with, seems like $50 in my pocket, and just kind of, let it go from there. So tried to get the word out and everything. I'm up in Eldon, just outside of Eldon, between Eldon and Jeff City by a couple of miles. But nice. I do mobile work and stuff like that. Just depends on the scope of work, because I've always said that, eating popcorn before working is never a good thing over the water, because you'll drop bolts or parts, and I don't want to be responsible for dropping expensive parts in the water.
Yep.
Man,
so, but
dive buddy,
man. So I guess not only like boat maintenance, but I guess you also do like electronic installs.
Yep. Yeah. So that kind of gets into the whole rigging aspect of it. So
gotcha.
I've done stereo work. The electronics. Obviously, we all know forward-facing sonar is a big thing.
Absolutely.
So, but like I said, anything people can imagine. I mean, I've got a Ranger that I did. I think it was in February, and 4 16-inch graphs with 3 forward-facing sonar transducers on it. Yeah,
3 with 3.
3. Yeah, we did a perspective, a forward-facing, and we did one on his jack plate, so he could do side engagement.
See, holy cow, that's 4 16s.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he spent a lot of money. I was like, are you sure? Like, this is expensive. And he's like, yeah, just shoot me an estimate and let me know.
That's probably slowed his boat down by like 5 miles an hour, all that weight on there.
Yeah, it wasn't fast to begin with.
You probably had more than $50 in your pocket when you were done with all that job. Jeez.
Yeah, I felt like it until I had to pay for all the materials that I ordered.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well,
do people mostly come to you and have an idea of what they want their setup to be, or do people come to you and like you're like, hey, or they're asking you for a recommendation, you're like, I think this is a good setup for your boat as far as your graph sizes and how stuff should be laid out?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of goes every which way. Some guys come to me and they're like, I gotta have it the same way that Joe has it or whatever, and I'm like, okay, we can do that. And then other guys come and they're just like, what do you recommend? And I basically ask people, what type of fishing do you do? I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen like the turrets and stuff like that. A lot of guys are like, I hate the turrets. And I'm like, well, what do you do? Like, what type of fishing are you doing? And if they're primarily bass fishing, the turrets a lot of times don't seem to make sense for them because they're constantly moving the trolling motor anyways, and they don't want the extra buttons. But I know a lot of bass fishermen that use the turrets and love the turrets. But yeah, that like separate pole with the transducer seems to be more of like a crappie fishing guy,
Sure.
spot locks on a brush pile and then points that forward facing sonar at it and away they go.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, some people don't understand budgets sometimes. And, whenever they tell me what they want, I give them an estimate and they're like, that is way more than I wanted to spend. And I'm like, yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah.
And they're like, what can we do cheaper? And I'm like, what do you want? What's your budget? And, so we figure something out that works that way. So.
Nice.
Right.
That's great. That's great. Tyler, I got to ask, since you do all these installs and basically obviously your own maintenance, what kind of graphs and units do you run on your boat when you're fishing? Because you're a big fisherman too. So
yeah, so we're running a 2017 921 PHX, and it had Lowrance graphs on it. And then whenever I started, we went straight to a Garmin live scope. Started with the LVS 32 and upgraded it. And over 2 years now, we've basically, I'm telling you earlier, we've re-rigged it 3 times, and we're up to all Garmin 126 SVs with just a single LVS 34 on it. And
nice.
knock on wood, everything's networked and everything runs smoothly most of the time. But just because I work on them doesn't mean it's flawless all the time. So I do still have issues with it. So we're just down at Truman, and I've had an issue with it like lagging really bad. Actually, during the whole winter series last year, I would throw an A-rig over a brush pile and that thing would pause. And there's probably a couple of people watching that are going, oh my God, that was the most annoying thing when we were watching, because they go fishing with me and they're like, why does your live scope lag? And I'm like, it doesn't work perfect all the time, but it works enough. So
I have not seen that issue yet. Interesting.
I haven't either.
So I did fix it, and it wound up being, I don't know if you guys have seen the little ferrite beads. They're like magnets that clamp over the cables. And I had one on our, transducer for noise interference, and I took it off, and it has worked flawlessly since.
Interesting.
So I've found, I mean, I'm sure we'll probably dive into a little bit of it later, but I found a lot of little quirks and weird things. People kind of look at me and they're like, you're crazy. And I'm like, just try it and let me know what happens. And they're like, yep, it fixed it. And Steve Sigmund's one of them, because he's texted me one night and said,
shout out to Steve.
Yeah, shout out to Steve. But he's like, hey, my live scope is getting blurrier and blurrier, like every time I go and use it. And I said, Steve, this is going to sound crazy. My dad wiped the boat down, and for whatever reason, we had hard water spots on the transducer. So he cleaned the transducer off. And Steve's like, I guess I'll try it. And he texted me like immediately the next morning. And he was like, I guess I had a dirty transducer. And I was like, it's just a weird thing.
He told me that because he was saying, he's like, my live scope is going out again. Because I think he did have a transducer before that actually did go bad.
Yeah.
He had it for couple of years or something, I think, and then I thought I was going bad again. He's like, Tyler told me to wipe it off. He's like, it worked. Like it's like, so if it's messing up, he's like, clean it. I'm like, that's okay. I was like, I wouldn't have thought of that.
It's like I said, it's just weird little things that it pick up off of a job here or a job there. So when you get on the phone and people are like, did you unplug it and plug it back in? I've got my list of things that I try to tell people, like, try this, try this, try this. And if you get through all these steps, I know it's a lot, but then I'll come out and I'll look at it, or then you might have an actual issue going on.
So Nathan and I, we actually have a similar list too. And it's, you turn it off, and turn it back on. And if that doesn't fix it, then you hit it with a hammer.
Yeah, that's it. IT 101.
That one normally doesn't work too well.
Every time.
You're doing it wrong. It works every time. Well, I'm sure we're going to get back to bringing up Steve again, but I have to circle back on you said that you upgraded from the LVS 32 to the LVS 34. For those who haven't made that upgrade, or maybe don't even know what that is if they're listening to the podcast, what kind of difference did that make in your eyes? Switching transducers.
Personally, I mean, I'd say it's more long range. I mean, you're going to get a little bit crisper image up close, but those 32s were, I mean, if you got them dialed in, and that's a lot, I see it a lot with the crappie guy that sits on top of a brush pile or within 15, 20 feet of a brush pile. Most bass guys, I would say, need an LVS 34. We're shooting out 90 plus feet, if you've got a good power setup and everything like that. I mean, the sky's the limit basically as far as you can see and what you can see with them. So, but yeah, I know the 32s. I mean, I had a decent setup in the 32. I could barely get out like 50 feet before the image got like super fuzzy and just dirty looking. So
nice. I personally still have the 32. I'm actually looking to upgrade this fall, or I guess it'll be this Black Friday is typically when a lot of good deals run. So I'll be making the jump myself. But yeah, because Austin's got the 34 and what do you got, Austin? A 12-inch screen?
Yeah, I got the 126, the Garmin 126.
Yeah, the 126 SP. Yep. That's a very common one.
But I will say I fish with Steve, which is like,
I guess we'll go there now.
Oh.
Well, talking about graphs, he's got the 22-inch MBT.
Yeah.
He used to have the 16-inch, and I would fish with him with the 16-inch, and I'm like, dang, like I can't even go back to my boat. I feel like I'm looking like this, squinting to see my screen, and then I fish with him with that 22-inch screen, and it's 10 times worse. Like I go back to my boat, I'm like, I don't even want to fish with him because make me buy one.
Yeah, I'm sure I probably might get another opportunity, but the only time I've got to fish with them was when we first got it rigged up, and then he's like, come out and we'll go fishing again. And I think the weather told us it was going to be like 42 degrees. It's supposed to be a nice day, and it was the absolute coldest day.
We've had that.
Yeah. Oh, it felt like it was colder than the tournament that we fished with you guys. And I'm like, Steve, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a little sissy about this, but I got to go back in. Like my hands are frozen. I'm like, everything looks good. So
it's super nice setup though. You did a good job.
I was going to say that 22, I was pretty surprised, with the clarity that you get on it. Cause I don't know if you paid attention, because his is mirrored off of a 8612 at his console, which is nice because the guy in the front of the boat can run everything and the guy in the back of the boat can still look at it.
Right.
But what I noticed with him was that 22 was showing a lot of stuff that the 8612 wasn't, which was kind of odd. So I don't know if it's necessarily a pixel thing with that, or if it's just like the display quality itself. But
I'm not sure.
I was quite amazed that 22 is showing as much as it was.
It was nice because I don't know, for all the people who use forward-facing sonar, it depends how much you utilize it, I guess. If you're looking at it all the time, and I'm not someone that's constantly looking at it, but it was hard not to with that bigger display because it was so easy to track everything. Whereas even with a 12-inch graph, you're throwing a shaky head or you're throwing something a little bit smaller.
You can see it.
You can see it, but like you kind of have to really focus in on it to really stay on it. But with that bigger screen, it was a lot less fatiguing, through the day to track stuff and follow it. So I just felt like I had a better sense of where I was all the time. Yeah, as far as my bait went. But
I have to ask: is that 22-inch screen the biggest you've ever installed on a bass boat?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've actually done 3 of those now.
Wow. So Steve's not alone. Good job.
Steve is not alone in the world anymore.
And it refreshed my memory because we talked about this in the past, that you had to get like kickstands to support this graph. Is that true?
Yeah. So we rigged Steve's boat up, and I mean most of the mounts that I use they're all going to be machined aluminum or whatnot. They're very sturdy mounts. And we put Steve's on the boat and we go running down the lake, and he's like, I think this thing's about to flip off the bow of the boat. He's like, it shakes a lot. And I'm looking at it and I was like, I mean, there's a couple bolts that we can try to tighten up and this, that, and the other. And so it helped a little bit. And then finally I was like, look, Steve, I said, the only thing I think we can do is just put these like braces on, the graph has a couple extra mounts where the gimbal mount would attach.
Mhm.
And I said, we can screw it to the floor. And he's like, let's do it. And I was like, okay. So which whatever he does, he had the arms made, and then I used some Bimini top brackets actually with like quick release pins. So if he wants to take it off, he just has to pull the pins. It's not like bolted to it by any means.
Right.
So,
Nice.
But yeah, he's, as far as I know, I mean, he hasn't, disowned me yet. So, so he's like, yeah, it works great. And I'm like, all right. So
Good.
I think he's got a little cable issue going on with the touch screen and whatnot. And yeah, I got to get over there and fix that. So I'll be over there at some point, Steve.
Let's talk about that a little bit. Justin here is saying he's got the 22 up front and he has two 8612s on the dash. So this is obviously this is all Garmin. So for the Garmins, I feel like this kind of might be the future of how things are going to be heading, is using these external displays versus buying the really expensive head units. So what if you want the 22-inch or you want the 16-inch external that's just a display? What type of graph do you need? Do you have to have the higher end series for this, or?
Yeah, so typically it's an 86 series. And then they also have I think it's an 8500 series black box. So it's not actually a multifunction display. It's literally kind of like your live scope black box. You just plug into it, and those are more meant for like your offshore fishermen, where they're running like Simrad graphs, but they want Garmin mapping or something like that. But yeah, you got to have a higher up, and basically what it is the graph has to have an HDMI out and then a USB-C port on it also, because what it's doing, the graph is not actually doing any processing. It's just mirroring an image from your Garmin or your Lowrance unit to that MBT unit. And I believe Russell Marine Product makes another one also as well. But yeah, I mean, the nice thing with per se, like the black box option with the pro guys having their screen size limited to 55 inches is they can still run a bunch of different stuff now, and like the black box doesn't take up screen size. They can run a 2 or 3 22-inch screens or whatever it is, and they're fine on their screens limitations. So
nice.
We've been talking a lot about Garmin.
Obviously,
Lowrance and Humminbird both have their forward-facing sonar as well.
Yep.
How much experience do you have with either of those, and what are your thoughts on
I've done them. Yeah, I've rigged them all. I will say maybe an unpopular opinion, but the Humminbird is probably number 3. I mean, as far as quality-wise, I have more issues with the Humminbird forward-facing sonar than any of them. I've got a customer right now from Chicago. Actually, he's wanting me to try to do some fixing because he'll turn his graph on and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I've done a ton of work to the boat already. Lowrance's Active Target 2 is very good, very comparable to like your Garmin LVS 34s and everything like that. They've stepped it up quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, if you're running forward-facing sonar, I would say you almost need to have a Garmin or a Lowrance unit.
Are you still having the issues with they call it Mega Live 2?
Yeah, I still see pretty much the same issues with the Mega Live 2 stuff. I know we got a couple, local pros down here, and I talked to them about it, and I feel like they shoot me straight most of the time. I'm like, hey, do you guys have this? Like, what do I need to do, or what do I need to look for? And yeah, they're like, sometimes it's just nature of the beast. Just turn it off, turn it back on, and see what happens. And I'm like, guys don't really like that answer.
Yeah.
They want to turn it on and they want it to go.
Right.
So
Turn it off, turn it back on, gets a hammer.
Yeah. My Chicago customer, I think he's ready to take a hammer to it at this point. So he's not too happy with it. But.
I had I don't really have any experience with the Lowrance. I would like to get on a boat with Lowrance just to experiment and see what it looks like, but I do have some with the Humminbird, but not the Mega Live 2.
Yeah, I haven't
a lot of issues where it would work the very first time you put it in the water. All the software was updated and everything was updated as much because that's what Humminbird kept telling him to do.
Yeah.
But when you would pull it out of the water and then put it back in, it would not work.
It would not work
consistently.
Yeah.
And their solution, they literally told him, was when you pull it out of the water to wrap it in a towel.
So yeah.
And then put it back in the water. And it was something with the minerals of the water or something.
Really?
And I was like,
yeah,
I couldn't believe that was the solution.
So I know their transducers if you look at them, they've got little metal contacts on the outside of them.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever the water basically touches those contacts, it creates a complete circuit. And that's what tells that transducer to turn on. And that's, if you've ever looked at them, like when you're running it, when you pull it out of the water, it'll say like Mega Live disabled, like transducer out of the water. But yeah, that's how it's able to tell that it's in the water or out of the water.
So that makes sense. So yeah, I don't really know what the solution of that would be then, besides to jumper that out or something.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think they just need to get rid of it. I mean, Garmin and Lowrance say that you're supposed to technically disable sonar when you're going down the lake to keep the transducer from getting hot because, they use the water to cool themselves off. So.
Right.
True.
But yeah, I don't know many people that do. I used to, and then I stopped because it was 3 extra buttons to press or something like that. So,
yeah, I don't think I've ever turned it off.
Yeah.
Me neither. I personally have very little experience. I had a friend of mine from work take me out on his boat, and he has the Lowrance Active Target. And maybe it's a little bit biased because I'm a Garmin user, but I just felt like it. And this was the original.
Your original Active Target.
Yeah, they didn't have the newer transducer yet, so maybe they fixed some of the problems. Yeah. I felt like there was more gaps in the Active Target compared to the and again, I just run the LVS 32 and I felt like there was more gaps. So maybe that's just me, maybe I'm crazy. But I would hope that especially in the newer one, and I haven't tried the newer one, that maybe it's got cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that the Active Target 2, the imaging is a lot better. I think the biggest issue I had with some guys on the Active Target 1 was they just couldn't see like structure. They couldn't see trees. And if you've used a Garmin unit, I mean, if you shine at a tree, I mean, you can see the branches and twigs, and you can see fish swimming in and out of them. And
yep, I agree.
I've had guys that have used the Active Target for years, and they're like, yeah, I've never seen, like, unless you hit it just perfect, they're like, I just never seen it. But I do know that the Active Target 2 was a lot better than what number 1 was.
Yeah.
Big upgrade for sure.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Tyler, as one of your jobs, has anybody ever asked you, or have you ever considered putting a live scope setup on the back of your boat for your partner? Or for someone?
Yeah, I've had a couple people ask, and I've never considered doing it for myself on my personal boat. I just tell the old man to come up front if he wants to look at it. But I've had, I think it was Jack Uxa asked me to put one on, and kind of the way to go about it and stuff. And we got it, and there's really not, I mean, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do it. But I think it just adds a whole lot of extra clutter. I mean, unless you're in Jack's shoes where he's trying to give a customer a different type of experience.
Right.
And he's got a different type of boat than what we do. He's running an aluminum boat with a track system in it. So a transducer pull back there is not a big deal, but the whole screen setup and getting the screen on there and safe without kicking it or tripping over it. I mean, the easiest way to do it, I think, would be having like an ice fishing bundle and, just have its own separate entity, set it up, throw the transducer off the side of the boat and go from there. But I don't really think, besides, like I said, the Ranger that I've done with the 3 transducers, but his is, hard mounted to his jack plate. So it's just for side image. He's not going to drive in circles trying to lock onto fish or nothing like that. So
interesting. I was just curious because I think I won't say any names or whatever, but we have seen at least one person with a live scope bundle in the back, so you can kind of have, especially during the series, like two people targeting. In theory, it works great because if the guy in the front misses something, the guy in the back might catch it.
Yeah.
However, like you said, it's a little bit more clutter. The setup itself, the logistics is kind of hard.
What I've seen for guys that are trying to do like a dual scope setup like that is one like running those motorized turrets or whatnot. So you put one on a turret and you put one on the trolling motor. So the guy that's running the boat has the trolling motor one, and the other guy has a turret.
That's an idea.
So, that's a good idea.
Granted, you're both shooting from the front of the boat,
you can still point it.
But you can still point in different directions and do different things. So
that's probably the smartest way to do it.
Would you think that there would be, and this is just me asking because I don't know, would there be any kind of interference from transducers with that being that close?
Yep. So typically what you'll see is like a kind of a pulsating. It almost looks like a wave coming across your screen.
Kind of like
actually, the guy. Yeah, it's not terrible. The guy fish anglers in action with, we did a perspective and a forward facing on his boat. And that was the first thing he said when we dropped it in the water. He's like, what the heck is this, dude? He's like, it's supposed to be clean. And I'm like, you've got two transducers that are running on the same frequency. Like you're going to see some sort of interference. And I said, if a little bit of screen pulsating is all it is, I was like, that's a good day.
Yeah.
I said, it's not blowing out the screen like, our old trolling motors used to. Whenever you touch the button and you couldn't see anything all of a sudden. So, but,
interesting. Well, kind of back to your business for a second. I missed the question. I wanted to ask you, now obviously it's going to change with your workload depending on the project, but how many boats are you servicing on a regular week, on like an average week?
Oh yeah, depends on what I'm doing. I mean, something like Steve's boat, a rig job like that. I like taking my time. I do pride myself on like quality of work. I don't like whenever I open up a compartment and I see wires laying everywhere and, non-waterproof connections in there. I mean, it's a boat. It's going to get wet, and corrosion and water is, electronics' worst enemies. So I do try to figure out the best way to route the wires and where I can go with stuff before I start drilling holes and everything. I think Steve's boat took me about a week or so. It was cold out though too, and my shop didn't have insulation at the time. But yeah, I would say on a normal week I can probably run 3 boats through if it's a rig job, but it depends on the service and everything like that too, what's going on. So like I said, I try to take my time on stuff and give everyone the best quality work. So
that's good.
That was one of the reasons I left the dealership was, quality over quantity is what I've always said. So don't need to push them through and have everyone coming back mad at me because I screwed something up.
Right. Do it right the first time. If it takes us a little longer, then it's done.
Exactly.
Better that way anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Austin.
I was going to dive a little bit into like setting up your graph and stuff when you first get it, like a Garmin, what kind of settings you may adjust or kind of how you go about that. Nate, were you going to dive into something else before we get into that or not?
I was going to, we can do this whichever way you want. I was going to dive into powering it all with talking batteries a little bit. Do you want to do that first, or do you want to talk settings?
Let's do some settings and stuff first, then we'll circle back to some batteries and powering and wiring and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So, settings are pretty straightforward. If you've used Garmin, there's not a whole lot you can change. There's 5 or 6 settings or, maybe a couple more here and there. But yeah, I go in, I tell everyone, every boat's different. Just because, your next door neighbor runs his gain on 75 doesn't mean that your gain is going to look the same on 75. But yeah, I typically, anytime I do a rig, I like to take guys out and show them, unless they've used it a lot before. But typically I have my noise reject set a little higher, helps to keep the background like more black. You don't see all that fuzz stuff, but I've fished with a lot of guys that leave noise reject off. I think a lot of the settings comes down to personal preference because we all see colors differently. which is nice with the color palette stuff because
Right.
there's a lot of guys that fish with the like blue. I think it's just called blue, and then it makes like all the structure and stuff like a bright red color.
Yep. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I've personally still use mine on the factory amber setting or whatnot because I can see it better. But yeah, I mean the coloration, but I try to go in. Try to go in and brighten the colors up. There's a second like color gain in the set, like not deep in the settings, but it's besides on like your main screen. And I like to turn that up to 75, 80. And then I get back to the home screen and start changing the stuff there. And biggest thing I tell people is don't leave any of your settings on auto. So your depth, your range, your gains, that all needs to be manually set. And the biggest reason is it takes processing power away from the graph. So if it's constantly trying to see how far you can shoot or how far down it needs to shoot, like it's just taking processing power away. So, Lake of the Ozarks, I think I typically leave mine at 25 to 30 feet. I mean, the goal is to use as much of the screen as you can. And obviously, if you get up shallow, you're not going to be utilizing a lot of screen. But that 25 to 30 foot range seems to be a nice one. And like I said, you can run it out. I typically run mine to 75 to 90 feet out so I can see when structure's coming up and whatnot, slow down beforehand. But yeah, and it changes lake to lake, day to day. You know, light conditions can affect it. Those transducers are super sensitive to particles in the water, debris floating around in the water. So I try to tell everyone, just don't leave it on auto and don't be afraid to go in there and change it because there is always the restore defaults.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes a lot of sense. And I don't know if I've ever heard that spoken. I was while back, I was guilty of leaving it on auto because I'd get so tired of kind of changing it. But like you said, almost always now my boat, I leave about 30 feet from my depth, and then I'll change my range if I'm throwing to a school of crappie. Typically, I'm trying to keep it within 60 feet or less, and then bass somewhere between 90 and 100 feet. Yeah. But that makes good sense. So hopefully that helps somebody because that's a good tip.
Yeah, that is a good tip. I never thought about it using processing power. I couldn't stand it changing. So I always said that.
Yeah. No,
this is actually like thinking the whole time, trying to adjust.
Yeah. So like I was saying earlier, I had that lagging problem with mine and I took that ferrite bead off of it. And that's what stopped it. But the whole time I was on the phone with Garmin, because I went through everything. I've re-rigged the boat 3 times and I did a software update, and that's when everything started. And I was like, I'm on the phone screaming at Garmin because I'm like, it's the software update. Like, just like send me the old software. I just want the old software. And they're like, nope, not going to do it. And I'm like, well, something is messed up and this is expensive. Like, and they told me, they're like, turn off all your settings, like do a factory reset, turn the noise reject off and this, that, and the other. And I was like, the noise reject's going to make it glowy. And they're like, yeah, but it takes they're like, all those settings that you have on like takes processing power away, and it can cause a blurry condition or a lagging condition. And so, I mean, like I said, I've been through those graphs, like as far as the settings go, like back and forth, and I don't see a whole lot of issues with it, but they do say that it does take enough processing power away where you can see performance changes in it. So,
wow. I'll be dang. Austin, got anything else on that matter?
The only other thing before we get into other stuff is kind of the strengths and weaknesses of other brands. As far as, let's get away from forward-facing sonar for just a second and talk about mapping, down imaging, side imaging. What's your go-to pick, or how does everything stack up? How much brands Garmin?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that Humminbird by far has the mapping and the down and side image. I mean, they've got it locked up. I mean, there's really no comparison on them. I don't run them. I've done enough boats, been in enough boats, and it's a big difference whenever you can see that kind of clarity and have minimal settings, basically just out of the box. I would say Lowrance is right there behind them, and Garmin's not far behind them on that. So, Now, that being said, too, I did upgrade my Garmin map chip, and I can't remember what the chip card is called now. But it changed the contour shading to where I can see. I mean, I can see creek beds. I can see everything like from an aerial view, and it looks like crystal clear. It's really made me look at the lake a lot different. So it shows humps that, on a contour map, you can't see that it's a hump or anything like that. So it's kind of interesting.
That's nice.
I've found a lot of stuff doing it too. And there's other people that I fished with that have said, they can see the little drainage ditches that nobody else can see on it. So
interesting. And you said that's because Garmin bought Navionics, I think, right? A couple of I say a couple years ago, but I think it's been
it's been long.
So is it a Navionics chip / Garmin now, or
I'd have to look at it and see what it was called, but I thought it was called like their Platinum Plus, like Southern Division. I don't know if Navionics, if it was considered a Navionics one. I believe it is, but don't quote me on it.
Yeah, I would like for my Lowrance. That's what I have. Yeah, I like Lowrance for the waypoint management and all that.
That's what I see a lot is people like the different brands based off of what they're using it for most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, you like the waypoint management on it, and it's super easy and seamless and stuff like that. So I like, my personal preference is just networkability. I hit mark on my front graph and it comes up to the back graph. So when Dad's driving the boat, I can just tell him what waypoint number to go to, and he drives right to it, and we're done.
Yeah,
but
that is nice.
I want to try. I haven't. I would be okay with moving to all Garmin, I think, but I haven't actually tried Garmin at the concept. Let's see the down imaging, see the side imaging on the water.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. I would say I'd probably down image more than I side image and stuff like that. I just understand it better. Side imaging is probably one of my bigger weaknesses as far as that stuff goes. I mean, unfortunately, now you can pull up to something and throw forward-facing sonar in the lake and look.
Right, it's definitely taken some of it away from side imaging.
Yeah.
Versus, I still think it has its place for sure of covering a lot of water and saying, okay, here's where I really need to stop and focus. Like this caught my attention. But now it's better just to once you get to that point, then pull up with it with forward-facing sonar and really you can
really dial it in
and say, this is exactly what we have here.
Tyler, when you're running your side scan, like let's say you're scanning a main lake point, what a kind of different variables for this too, but you can kind of talk us through what is your range you're going to be trying to scan? Like what's your typical setting?
I try to keep it relatively close. Normally, I'm probably less than 100 feet.
Less than 100 feet.
I'm a small guy. I can't cast that far. So if I can't see it on the graph, I'm like, what's the point in being able to see it way out there? So
yeah.
But I don't know. I think keeping things close and tight, same thing with, it basically all correlates to each other, but the closer you are, the better definition that you can get on, structure. So, if you got your side scan set out 150 feet or whatever, the max is, I mean, sure, you can see that there's something out there, but you don't know what it is. And if you got 100 feet closer or 50 feet closer, I mean, the definition is, really starts to come in a lot better at that point.
Sure.
I believe.
Gotcha. I think that's all I got on those kinds of questions.
Yeah, let's talk. You're talking about batteries and wiring and all that.
Yeah. So, what kind of batteries are you running to power your boat?
So my boat personally, it's on an Eternal Lithium, 135 amp hour. It's just your standard. I guess they're considered 12.8 volts now. When lithiums came out, they used to rest at a lot higher voltage, and that was creating some of the original problems that I think have scared a lot of people away from using lithium. But that technology's come a long ways. But yeah, I run, like I said, the whole boat. So three 126 Garmin's, all the pumps, the big motor, all that stuff off of a single 135 amp hour battery. And I run
Same deal.
Yeah, I run 13.3 to 13.5 volts all day long. I think the lowest it got, because depending on the battery and everything like that, a lot of them have heaters built into them to keep those cells warm. But the lowest I got was that really cold Midwest tournament last year, and it dropped down to like 12.6 or something like that because the battery was just freezing itself.
Is that like what would you think like the minimum just battery size somebody should have now as far as amp hours goes? Graphs.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, so when I started doing it, like I said, before, I've re-rigged our boat 3 times or whatnot. When we got the boat, it had a 5 battery setup. Before I really dove into batteries, it was, guy sold me on this really nice big AGM that weighed 190 pounds, it felt like. And he's like, it'll last you forever. And so we took one of the batteries out, trying to cut some weight out of the boat, which we did. And then, I don't know, 6-7 months into it, we're in the middle of a tournament and the low voltage alarm goes off and the battery just dropped a cell and it was done. And I was like, well, I guess we're done fishing. So I called and I complained about it because I was like, this thing's supposed to last forever. And I was like, it barely made it 6 months. And he's like, yeah. So if you want to stick with an AGM or lead batteries, I mean, you shouldn't be running anything smaller. In my personal opinion, again, a lot of people are probably going to get mad about it, but you shouldn't be running anything smaller than a standard 31 series, deep cycle or Kraken battery. And you should be having 2 of those on the boat. Those forward-facing sonars and the graphs now, they draw a lot of power. And what people don't realize with the lead batteries is a completely discharged lead battery or AGM is at 12 volts. When you get below 12 volts, it might still start the boat. It might still run things, but it's actually damaging the cells inside the battery. And that's what hurts that battery life. And I was guilty of it with that AGM. I know we had days where we dropped it down to like 11.5 volts or something like that. But you don't think anything of it because you crank the key up, big motor starts fine, and you just go down the lake and you're fine. But yeah, I mean, if you've got a 4-stroke now, I mean, the charging systems are capable of handling them. I mean, if you can, flip the bill for a lithium, I would definitely get a lithium, or at least do a dedicated lithium and get your forward-facing sonar off of the cranking battery. That just seems to be the biggest thing about it. And the lithium with that higher voltage is what gives you a good processing power for your forward-facing sonar and all your graphs just to function properly. Like I said, when you start dropping voltage on them, they just start doing weird things and getting really confused with what's going on. So,
Interesting.
What about when you rig boats? I know there's multiple ways to do this. Do you normally run to like a dedicated fuse panel? Do you run straight from the battery to like just the console area and then another run up to the bow?
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of boats manufacturers now, you can purchase with like in the boat as an option, their upgraded wiring harness. And those are actually pretty good. Kind of the same setup that I put in boats. And I built kind of a package after doing so many of these boats. The manufacturers say that they want like dedicated 8-gauge wire if you're going over like a 5 or 6 foot extension on the power harnesses. Well, when you got 4 graphs on it and you're trying to get straight to the battery, I mean, you're going to have, and we had it. I mean, we had a big wad of 8-gauge wire running through the boat and it worked great. And I said, but it added 150 pounds of wire to the boat, and I was like, yeah, there's got to be a better way of doing it when you're rigging. At that time, in the early spring and whatnot, I probably do 2 to 3 boats, 4 boats a month, I would say, like big full rigs. And I'm like, I said, running wire is the most time consuming part of it. So I built a package, and it's basically the 4-gauge wire, a breaker, and I run that up to the console. And then at the console, I'll have a breaker panel, whether it's a 6-gang or a 12-gang breaker panel. And then I plug all the graphs in there. And then from that point, if I need to extend power to a graph, I'll run, a good double jacketed 10-gauge wire to it. And I call it my 0-drop harness. But I think on a 21-foot boat, I had like less than 100th volt drop from the battery up to like the very front graphs.
Yeah, I mean, you're running 4-gauge. That's huge.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's like, yeah, that's a little bit overkill, don't you think? And I'm like, it might be overkill, but guess what? The power is getting there. Period.
Right. Not having much voltage drop. A lot of load on that before you start.
Well, and like I said, I did it on that guy with the Ranger with the 3 live scopes. And I mean, when you put that much stuff on a fuse panel, I mean, that's a lot of juice that's coming through that fuse panel and stuff. So you want to make sure that it's getting there. And that's the biggest killer. I mean, on older boats and stuff like that is wire gauge size. So I just said, you know what, I'd rather be at overkill than underkill. And knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with it. So.
Well, that's good. All good information there. Well, I kind of running out of questions about the business. I was going to kind of swing things into fishing a little bit, kind of some personalized Tyler fishing questions. Austin, you got anything else for graphs, electronics, or anything like that?
Hang on. I've got one person that's just asked a question. This is a good question.
Perfect.
Can you read that, Tyler? Does that show up or not?
Yeah, it does. So if I leave my boat on the lift in the winter, do you recommend bringing my battery inside if I do not fish in January through February? So wintertime stuff, as far as battery storage goes, a fully charged battery can handle the wintertime. I would highly recommend at least the bare minimum doing a trickle charger. If you can, which I know some of our hills around the lake are ridiculous, so nobody wants to carry a 31 series battery or anything like that up a hill. Done it a lot, and I hate it. But yeah, if you can get them out of the boat, then I would take them out of the boat. If it's a lithium, I would take it out of the boat if you're not fishing and stuff like that. But yeah, at the bare minimum, at least put a trickle charger on it, keep that charge up. Like I said, it keeps all the cells happy and just keeps everything happy. So,
longer battery life. Good question, by the way.
Longer battery life is what we're after.
It does one other thing that I guess kind of leads into a question that people might have is I believe lithiums don't like to be charged, or like they chemically can't be charged if their cells are below like 32 degrees or something.
Yeah, it depends on the manufacturer.
A lot of these batteries are starting to get heaters, which you had mentioned earlier. Is that something that you would definitely recommend if somebody likes to fish through the colder months?
Yeah, I mean, I think most of us might have them in a, climate controlled shop or something like that. I don't know. If you're out on a boat lift and stuff, I mean, plug it in, leave it plugged in. It'll be fine. Pro Guide, one of the brands that I carry, I did have this issue come up. The guy was building a house or whatnot, building a shop at his house for his boat to go in. Well, he had it in basically public storage for the time being. And he has all lithiums in the boat for the trolling motor, the boat, all of it. And he calls me up at like 9 o'clock and he's like, dude, I got a big tournament in the morning and these batteries are not charging. And so we go out, we got, space heaters on the boat and everything like that, trying to get it heated up and everything like that. Got everything going. And then called Pro Guide the next day and I said, hey, what's your temperature rating? And Pro Guide said, you can charge ours at like -20. Wow. And I was like, really? And so then I got to looking at it and that guy had that, was it the power pole charging system or something like that? Well, that charging system actually has a thermostat built into it. So if you have it on lithium setting, it will automatically shut itself off. And I was like, well, that's good to know for future reference. But
yeah, for sure. So you were fighting the actual charger, not the battery.
yeah, we were fighting the charger and not the actual batteries. But yeah, a lot of the batteries won't take a charge below a lot of it's like 32 degrees or something like that.
Wow.
But you get what you pay for. If you buy a cheaper battery, that's probably what you're going to get. Like I said, the Pro Guides do really well. The Eternals that I carry, I mean, my shop was not heated last year, and we fished some frigid days, and it was 100% charged every time we went out. So, and I just run a standard NOCO charger, 4-bank charger on it. So,
nice.
It's going on Austin's tombstone one day. You get what you pay for.
It is.
That is a true story.
Well, it goes back to our life jackets we have. It was
boy.
how old are these life jackets now? 8 years old at least. Maybe 8 years old. They're Onyx life jackets, which at the time was a new brand, hadn't really been out, and I was looking at buying an inflatable one, automatic one.
Yep.
And it was the Mustang, which is the tried and true for life jackets, which was like $200-something at the time, or this Onyx, which was the same thing for like $75. And I'm like, I'm buying this. And I told my brother, I said, all right, if I fly on the boat and I die because of this life jacket, you have to put on my tombstone, but you get what you pay for.
It's been a joke ever since.
Yep. I can't say that I didn't do the same thing. We had old school life jackets. And I was like, I said, we need to just get the inflatable ones. Like, we look ridiculous in these big old bulky things, and got us some Bass Pro brand ones. And I think it was like the very first tournament we showed up to. It had rained like during practice. We open up the back compartment and there's 2 big old life jackets blown up.
I've been there 3 or 4 times.
Mine just happened again this summer. It's the second kit I've had to change out.
That happened to us in New York. We were fishing the St. Lawrence River and it soaking rain one day. I put the life jacket away, and whatever. And I got out the next day, my brother, and I opened the bin. I just sunk my head down. He just starts laughing at me. I didn't have to speak.
I'm glad it's just not me. So.
No, not just you. I'm sure there's others out there too.
I've got kids now. I probably should upgrade to an expensive one that'll actually save my life.
Yeah.
I know him. He ain't gonna do that.
I'm just going back to the old school big bulky ones.
Honestly, that's probably the safest thing in the winter.
No, it's fail safe.
Yeah, when it's super cold, because it's going to at least keep you upright.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's dive into some fishing for a little bit.
All right, I only got so much, and it's a little bit jump around here and there. But Tyler, I'm going to ask, since you're a pretty busy dude, this kind of perfect transition a little bit. Since you're pretty busy, obviously you kind of have your own schedule. How many tournaments do you get to fish in a given year?
Wintertime, a little bit more. When that tends to be when obviously fishing season kicks off. But shoot, I think after about April time, I get to do about one a month. So my dad and I joined a club, I guess 2-3 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I make it a point just to get out with him at least, whenever I can. So no offense to anybody, but I'm like, you know what? He ain't gonna be here forever, so I'm gonna get all the time I can. So
yeah, man, fishing with your dad, that's special. That's awesome. Yep. What is something that you know now about fishing that you didn't know 5 years ago that has made you a better angler?
I'm not that good to start with. So I don't.
I'm not mistaken. I think you beat us in points. I can't remember if Austin had.
I don't think so. I had some weird circumstances with the points and stuff last year.
No, you definitely beat us last year. Everyone beat us last year.
We were awful.
We fished.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only reason I say that, the first tournament that we fished, my dad was in Mexico, so I fished it solo, and I think I had 3 fish. Aggravated me, so I think I chucked those back and just said the heck with it. And then the second tournament, I got tied up helping one of my buddies load his boat, And then we loaded our boat, and by the time we got done with everything, you guys had the scales closed. So we chucked our 5 fish back then. And my dad's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Scales are closed. It's not a big deal." But then we fished that really cold one, and we had 5 fish. So that one was interesting because I was surprised that anyone else even showed up to weigh in.
Yeah, that was impressive.
I think honestly, like when I moved down here, which, that's 11, 12 years ago now, trying to keep up with everybody, you try to fish the same way that they do, and you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off, trying to figure this out, trying to figure that out. And I finally got to the point I just slowed down. There's, as you guys know, there's thousands of baits out there too. I know I can pick up a brush hog. My particular favorite right now is Bojangles log hog. I've caught more big fish on that in the last couple of years. Mike McCarty's come out with a new one that I helped him design. I started throwing that. I haven't built up the confidence in that one yet. So when it comes down to tough fishing, like I said, I pick up that brush hog or that log hog, and I know, I might not catch all the fish, but I'm going to get at least bit. And just slowing down. That's been the biggest thing. And, picking the stuff apart. You're out there trying to do something, and, you catch a fish, you look where you're at, you try to just, do that same thing again.
Right.
And so I don't try to fish like anybody else does. We all, kind of do fish the same anyways, but we do fish different areas. We still have our differences.
Sure.
So I try to do different things. Everyone, they're like, "Yeah, you can't catch fish on the main lake." And I'll be like, "Yeah, I think I can go catch fish on the main lake. Like, I'm going to figure it out." So I'm going to do something different. So and a lot of times it works out. We got the Toyota coming up. So I got a lot of guys that I'm talking to here and there. And, they're all like, "Don't tell anyone, and don't tell it." And I'm like, "You guys are all fishing the same way. Like, you're all doing the same stuff. You're just doing it in different areas." Like, so, there's really not a whole lot of secrets to it anymore.
So many ways to skin a cat, but I do like your thought process, because I used to get caught up in the same thing. And I'm not saying I'm a great fisherman either by any means. There's some really, really good fishermen at our lake that consistently get it done. And just, I don't know how they always do it, but they do it. But we get caught up in thinking, "Oh, that's how they're doing it." And I think trying to catch somebody else's fish is the hardest thing. Because somebody they could tell you, "Go right here and do this," and like it just doesn't work. You got to like come up with it on your own, or have like your own little spin to it to make it work. And I think that makes you a better angler, because it makes you think, maybe why are the fish here? What are they doing? Or how should I set up and do this, versus just blindly trying to go and go, "Oh, I do this," and you're not understanding it if you just try and go do, what somebody says.
Yeah, no, you definitely cannot catch another man's fish. That I don't think ever works for anybody. I got a couple guys that I share a lot of information with, and I've, given them waypoints and stuff like that. And they're like, "I've fished it 100 times since you told me about it." And they're like, "I can't catch fish on it, period." And during the winter series last year, I was pulling 3 and 4 pounders off it like every day, it seemed like. And they're just like, "I'm doing something wrong." And I'm like, "Well, clearly, because I can go and catch a decent one off of it at least." So, and there was always fish there. So, but
that can happen in the same boat though too. You can have 2 people fishing the same spot, and like one person's like, "Oh, I always catch, like I'm set up like this, I catch them." And you can have 2 people throwing them with the same thing. Yeah, it's like one person.
It's like
draw it off that spot.
Prime example for us. Austin can throw the heck out of a jig. If he's got a jig, I may as well not even throw it, because he's seriously. And he's just good with the jig. He's gonna catch 5 fish to my 1, maybe, if I'm lucky to get one. So I almost always pick up a different, whether it be a creature bait,
shaky head or something. I thought you throw a shaky head a lot. And you do good on that though.
That's my power. That's my power. But that's my strength, I should say, not power. But it's just, I hear what you're saying. And I like what you said about that. It works for you for slowing down, because last month, if anybody listened, we talked with Rick Fishback, and he is like a 2 or 3 casts on a pile of brush, and he's on to the next spot.
Yeah.
He's powering around, and that works for him. And it's all about kind of finding what works for you. So I really like that you said that you kind of slow it down and you've kind of just made your own pattern and stop chasing what the other guys are doing and find what worked for you.
You can miss a lot of stuff. I mean, like I said, you said Rick, he's a 3 casting guy. I got 2 or 3 spots that I can think of, and it's at least a 10 cast, brush pile or something like that. And I learned last year, I got to keep making these casts. Like if these fish are coming off of the pile to look at it, I know that I'm going to catch one at some point. Now, if I get to the 20, 25 cast mark, then I'm like, yeah, they're not eating. But there's a lot of times, if they didn't eat on the first 10 casts, somewhere between 10 and 15, they finally ate it. So
when that was happening, were you switching anything up, or you literally just kind of throwing the same deal in there, just trying to?
Yeah. So, I mean, not that it's a big secret or anything like that. The only, I threw a rig and a jerkbait last year all winter long, whenever the conditions got right for it. And the only thing that I found that worked for me was 2 of the same A-rigs. If you're throwing a yum, you throw a yum. Like, you don't change the A-rig style at all. But I would throw one with dark colored baits on it, and then I would throw one with light colored baits. And however the fish reacted when I pulled up, if they reacted better to one, I threw that color basically all day long. And, I wouldn't pick the other one up. And then the jerk bait, I throw one color. Well, no, I throw about two colors on a jerk bait. So I got a translucent and then one that's got a lot more flash. I think I call it like a foil color or something like that. But,
nice.
Yeah, just try to keep it simple.
Interesting. So. I want to ask you, I got a couple more questions, and we are past the 1 hour mark, so try to be a little bit courteous of your time. But are you planning on fishing the Winter Series this year?
Yeah, I'll be fishing it.
Ah, sweet.
So
awesome. We look forward to seeing you, and I assume your dad as your partner again.
Yeah. So, unless he ditches me for Mexico for the first one again, then he's out.
Depends how cold it is. If it's really cold, I'll be on the beach.
Yeah. No, the first one wasn't even that bad. And then he showed up for that really cold one, and he trooped through it because we had 5 fish in the boat pretty quick. And he's like,
there's no turning back once you have 5 fish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't care if they're all 1 pound. They're coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Austin, didn't we get worse every tournament? I think
this year we did. Yeah, the first year
we got better.
Series every tournament we got better and better and better.
This year,
we just got worse. But part of it was a shad kill. I feel like
stop making excuses. New year.
You're right. Yeah. I think last year was just a bad year.
We struggled.
This next question is just for you, Tyler. Nobody else will probably understand this, but Austin will laugh. Will you remember to wear your bonus apparel to all the tournaments in the Winter Series?
It hasn't left my truck since. You know what the sad part about that too is I bought 2 hats from you guys, and one for me, one for Dad, and it was at the first tournament, so he was in Mexico. His hat was in my truck, covered up in fishing stuff or whatnot. And we went through the truck and we cleaned it out one day, and I was like, God, there it is. I was like, it was here the whole time.
$120 hat, baby.
So, so for everybody who doesn't know, if you fish our Winter Series, Austin and I, we have an apparel bonus. If you buy a shirt, if you buy a hat, spoiler alert, we have new shirts and new hats that will qualify you for this prize this year. We did a whole new redesign. Austin and I are really excited about it. Low key throwing some shade at the guy trying to make the stuff because it's been a pain in the butt trying to get him to get the shirts right. If he listens to this, that's a stab. Yes. But we have new apparel, and so you'll have to get again, it'll be $20, but basically what happens is if you finish 1 place out of the money, so if we pay 5 places that day and you end up in 6th, you get your entry fee back, which is $120. And that day, Tyler and his dad unfortunately finished 1 place out of the money, but the kicker is you have to have your apparel on or with you to get the prize. And that day, Tyler thought he forgot, or he quote unquote forgot his hat at home. But
My hat, it was on the counter when I got home still. I remember it vividly.
I remember it.
Yeah, it was bad.
So that's kind of the kick, but it's definitely worth it because you never know when you're going to just finish. It always seems like, oh man, we were one place out of the money.
Yeah.
I think this last year, what we paid it out once or twice out of the 5 tournaments.
I think only twice.
I think twice.
Once or twice.
We had a couple in a row where either somebody didn't have the hat or the shirt, but it was mostly the people didn't buy it, and they were like look at each other in the morning. They're like, "Oh, like we thought about it, but we're
sorry,
we're not gonna just sell it." Like whatever, it's like, hey, this is actually a decent deal. It's like it's a little insurance, And
yeah, it is. So I'm just gonna throw it in the glove box this year.
There you go.
And I mean, come on, not to brag, but they're pretty nice hats and shirts.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're kind of cool. It's fun. Austin and I really enjoy seeing them out and about whenever, we run into people. That September tournament, we saw a couple of our shirts and we're like, hey, would you look at that? People knew who we are a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you saw a couple of them at that IUOE tournament.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Just a few.
Yep. So hopefully we can get more sold this winter and just continue to grow.
Yeah, it'll be nice, little redesign for
everyone. Yeah. It's really a good design. Austin gets all the credit. He came up with the thing, and it looks really good. It looks really good. So, few more things. Got to ask you the famous question we ask everybody. If you had to give Lake of the Ozarks an overall health, from an overall health standpoint, a letter grade, what would you give it and why?
For fishing.
For fishing. Thank you.
For fishing. Yeah, I mean, as tough as fishing's been and everything like that, I mean, this year it seems like it's picking up. I'd probably give it like a B- or something like that. It's just last year was really tough. It seemed like we didn't have a whole lot of rain and current throughout the year. But this year we've had that rain. The bite was still really weird though. I can't speak for everybody, but I never really caught fish in brush. But I mean, I've caught a lot of good quality fish. I mean, I went out pre-fishing for that IUOE tournament and had a 6-pounder and a 4-pounder, and basically back-to-back casts. And I was like, wow, this doesn't happen very often. And of course, they didn't show up the next day for the tournament, but that's pretty typical. But no, I mean, I like fishing this lake. I think it's a good, healthy lake. I mean, there's a lot of shad, a lot of different size shad. We got some big gizzard shad that have moved up.
We do.
I've seen some smaller shad kind of out in the middle of the coves and the creeks and stuff. So, yeah, I like seeing what I see.
Nice.
So
good answer. I would agree. Last year just was weird, and we're not going to live in the past. Austin and I aren't going to live in the past. It's a new year.
Right.
Yep.
So far this year's been pretty decent for me for fishing.
I'm knocking on my wooden desk right now. If you watched our IOUE tournament video, we did catch 5 keepers, which is foreshadowing that we will be awful in our own winter series. But we are going to do our best anyway. But,
we'll be there.
Oh, yeah. But regardless, we're going to have a great time. It's a great time. If you haven't fished with us, if you're still with us this far into the show, we hope that if you haven't, come out and try to fish one of our tournaments. We promise you're going to have a good time. And if you fish throughout the whole series, it's just a blast. You get to know a lot of people. We've met Tyler. We've met Steve. We've met Scott and Luke Ahart. We've learned so many different fantastic folks.
And a lot of good people.
So many good people. It's a great community. So just come on out. All these people, we've been blessed that they come to fish our tournaments, and we've really just gotten to just get to know more people and share the sport that we all love to do. So other than that, Austin, I don't have too much else. We're just about to an hour and 15. You got any other fishing questions? Anything you want to give Tyler real quick?
I'd just like to thank Tyler for his time.
100%.
And for being a sponsor. Tyler's
yes,
Lake Ozark Marine Outdoors, like plug that again, is going to be one of the main sponsors for the winter series. So, Tyler, I would like, if anybody wants to get a hold of you for business stuff, they want their boat rig, want work done or whatever, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I got a Facebook page, Lake Ozark Marine Outdoors. A lot of the local guys know me. They got my phone number. You guys got my phone number, email. It's a long email. It's on the Facebook page and stuff like that. But yeah, shoot me a text, phone call. If I don't answer or whatnot, leave a voicemail type thing. Typically with all the spam stuff going around now, I don't answer unknown numbers as it is. But I do try to get back to people as soon as I can. So, but yeah, I'm pretty much all over the place. So it should be easy to find.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for sponsoring the series, because it's we've done pretty well so far. We're not completely done yet, but we've got more than we had last year. So hopefully the prizes stay even sweeter. And just
no, it's definitely a fun thing. I enjoyed it. Last year was my first year fishing with you guys. So I did a little bit of a sponsorship, kind of dipping my toes in the water and stuff, and decided to go with the main sponsorship thing this year. So obviously you're doing something right, because I got a lot of faith in you, and I haven't heard anything bad from about you guys. So that's always a good thing.
And like you and your work, we try to make everything we do high quality, and it's we don't try to take any shortcuts, and we always just try to do the customer right. So I guess real quickly, I just want to hit one more time. Again, if you're still listening and you've made it this far, please consider buying a raffle ticket from Austin and I for a cooler. Yes, we have bullied Tyler into buying a cooler ticket. So we are now at least 9. But if he's going to do, again, it's
I'm doing 3.
Oh, he's doing 3. So we're up to 11. So, so we bullied him. So that's good for us. But it's a Yeti Tundra 45, which is retailed at $325-ish. And we're going to ship it right to you. The drawing is going to be October 15th.
Right.
Yeah. And if we get the most tickets that will be sold will be 50. Anything less, doesn't matter. We're still raffling it off. So please, again, it's 1 ticket for $20 or 3 for 50. So it's pretty good odds that you can win yourself a Yeti cooler. I don't have a Yeti cooler, but again, Austin and I aren't playing, so we're not able to win our own cooler. So
we're not allowed.
The other thing I wanted to put out there, again, if you've made it to this far in the show, which I hope somebody takes advantage of this, Austin and I are always looking for audience recommendations. So if anybody has anybody that they want to hear from or a topic you want to hear about, let Austin and I know down below in the comments, and we'll try to get something put together. We try to run one of these once a month just for our busy schedules, but we have kind of really got to know people on different levels, got to learn new things. It's been overall really good and successful. So I'm really glad we did it. And I think Austin feels the same way.
Oh, absolutely. Look at this cooler too. This cooler could be yours.
Oh my gosh, that's the cooler.
You could have that color. You can have green.
I was just gonna say, so we get to custom make it to whatever we want.
You get to pick whatever color you like too.
Now, Tyler,
holy cow!
Hear me out, Tyler. You could get 6 tickets for $100. And now, really, if there's only I guess at that point there'd be 14 sold, but 6 of those would be yours. So, woo!
I'd have almost a 50% shot at winning it.
And if you're like me and Austin, you'd still lose.
Probably.
4 cans in it, 37 pounds of ice. I mean, you take that on your trip to Canada, wherever you go remote.
Man, sold.
You've got ice forever. And your drinks are cold, your meat's cold, and it's bear proof. I mean,
if my old man has made it this late, he said he was going to stay up and watch this, so he's probably already on there ordering tickets or something.
Get some tickets. That would be nice.
We can make it work, however, but most of the sales have been going through Venmo. Venmo, but we can make anything work. So
message us on Facebook or leave a comment or whatever, and we'll get in touch. And we have a bunch of different avenues as far as how you want to pay.
Yep,
you get your tickets in, but
so
that's about all I have, I think.
Me too. This is September. We are approaching the Winter Series. Eventually here, I don't know when it'll be, but probably in the upcoming times, Austin and I are going to sit down and talk about the whole series and just kind of go about some of the new prizes we got and some of the new ways to win and talk points and talk rules and just kind of an FYI for all the anglers out there. But otherwise, I think that's all we got for the month. So Tyler, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us and talk with us.
No, thanks for having me. So
100%.
I enjoyed it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Everybody be watching our socials for the release of next month's podcast. Again, if you have any suggestions, what you want to talk about, what you want to hear, who you want to hear from, drop a comment below and let us know, and we'll see what we can get worked out. So until then, thanks for everybody for tuning in.
Yep. See you guys on the next one. We'll have some more videos out for you soon too.
Yep.
So see ya.